Good afternoon, one and all. I welcome to the global webinar on engineering, science and technology organized by Baba Institute of Technology and Sciences, Visakhapatnam. Myself, Devi Padmaja, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, would like to host today's webinar. It's my pleasure to introduce our beloved head of the department, Associate Professor, Mrs. A.S.B. Prasanna Ma'am. Now, I take the privilege to invite our co-chairperson, Dr. Rugada Vaikuntarao Garu, Head of the Department Mechanical Engineering, Raghu Engineering College, Visakhapatnam, and co-chairperson, Dr. D. Sriramalu from Python College of Engineering, Tekkali. It gives me immense pleasure to read the citation of today's chairperson, Dr. Rugada Vaikuntarao Garu. Dr. Rugada Vaikuntarao Garu is born on 5th May 1967. He completed his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from Nagarjuna University in the year 1989. Later, he completed his MTech in Machine Design from JNTU Kakinada in the year 2009 with distinction. He earned PhD in development of aluminium silica carbide bricks for Ladley to carry molten material from JNTU Kakinada in 2016. He started working in the early years of 1989 as a site engineer under Visakhapatnam Steel Project construction. He came into this teaching profession in the year 2002 as an assistant professor in Beetham College of Engineering, Visakhapatnam. Later, he moved to VIIT Duvada, joined there studied in the Department of Mechanical Engineering and worked there for 4 years. He also worked at GIET Gunupur as an HOD and in-charge principal. Currently, he is working as an HOD in Department of Mechanical Engineering at Raghu Engineering College, Dakamari. During his career, he received various awards at different positions. He received Excellence in Teaching Awards at Vignan Group of Institutions for the year 2007-8. Apart from these, he is also associated with various organizations like Indian Society of Technical Education, the Institute of Engineers, Indian Society of Mechanical Engineers, and many more as an active member. He published a number of papers in reputed journals during his career. In his career at various prestigious institutions, Professor Rugada Vaikuntarao Garu had made significant contributions to teaching, research, and service. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to read out the citation about the great personality, Dr. Rugada Vaikuntarao Garu. Now, it's an honor to read the academic citation of our co-chairperson, Dr. D. Sriramalu. Dr. D. Sriramalu completed his BE in Mechanical Engineering from Andhra University in the year 2001. Later, he completed his MTech in SIM from NIT Warangal in the year 2005. He awarded his PhD from NIT Warangal in the year 2010. He is having the total academic experience of 13 years and 3 years of research experience. It would be glad for me to say about Dr. Sriramalu that he is not only a highly experienced person in the field of teaching, but also entertaining various lifetime membership with prestigious associations like ISTE chapter and MIE India. He had guided number of BTech and MTech projects. Apart from these, he is also associated with various organizations like Indian Society of Technical Education, the Institute of Engineers, Indian Society of Mechanical Engineers, and many more as an active member. He had a wide range of paper publications in international journals and international conference proceedings. Now, I hand over the session to Mr. Kunal Kumar from BIT Sindri, Dhanbad, to present his paper on application of smart manufacturing in fighting COVID-19 pandemic. I request all the participants to mute your phone and keep your videos off and have a look at the presentation. Mr. Kunal Kumar, please hand over the session. I request Mr. Kunal Kumar to hand over the session.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Sir, your video is off. You may please share your presentation.
I am Kunal Kumar. Presently, I am pursuing production engineering from BIT Sindri. I am in the third year. With us here, we have Mr. Prabhat Thakur, who is my friend from the same college and the same branch. So let's begin. So, this coronavirus disease is caused due to severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 virus, which is in short known as SARS-CoV-2. So basically, coronavirus is the disease. It is not a virus. Coronavirus was declared as a public health emergency of international concern on 30th January 2020 by WHO, that is the World Health Organization. And finally, on 11th March 2020, WHO declared it as a global pandemic. So the symptoms of coronavirus are as follows. The victims may experience light fever, dry cough, shortness of breath, or total loss in taste and or smell. In these symptoms, we can see this is highlighted in blue. That is the X-ray and CT scans, which shows victims' lungs riddled with small white patches. This is the symptom which we can monitor using artificial intelligence. And the rest symptoms like the fever, dry cough, etc. cannot be monitored by AI. But the issue with this is that the white patches appear on the victim in the later stage of coronavirus. So it cannot be confirmed that the victim is corona positive in the earlier stages. Now let us look how this coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us assume there's a person who has coronavirus. So when the person sneezes or coughs, the virus-laden droplets are expelled by the infected person. That is in fact inhaled by someone else. Now, this virus, that is the SARS-CoV-2, enters the body via the nose and throat. This virus then hijacks the cell's machinery and forces them to make copies of itself, thus invading new cells and then the entire body. As this virus multiplies, an infected person sheds copious amounts of it by cough and sneezes. So now, in the final stage, this virus enters the tiny air sacs, that is the alveoli of the victim's lungs. Due to infection in the lungs, the oxygen levels in the blood fall down, which causes the demise of the victim if not proper care is taken. So these symptoms appear in this stage when the virus enters the tiny air sacs. Then we can see the victim's lungs riddled with small patches. We will see those images later. So here, this is the actual image of the CoV-2 under an electron microscope. The second image, which we are highly familiar with, is actually a computer-generated one. This is not taken by any electron microscopes or as such. So let's move forward to smart manufacturing. We must be familiar with Industry 4.0. Actually, smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0 are the same thing. It is known by the name smart manufacturing and Industry 4.0 term is used by European and Asian nations. So technically, smart manufacturing is a category of manufacturing which employs computer integrated manufacturing, high levels of adaptability, rapid design changes, etc. We have many benefits of smart manufacturing, but the major ones are listed below. That is the improved efficiency and productivity and cost savings in the long term. So now the question arises that in order to automate things, we need robots, conveyor belts, etc., which are very costly. So how can this be cost effective? So as I told you, this causes as I told you, smart manufacturing results in improved efficiency and productivity. So the cost invested or the money invested by the company in purchasing the robots are then caught back as capital due to the increase in efficiency and productivity. In the later slides, we are going to see the aspects of smart manufacturing which can be used to fight coronavirus. So the first thing that comes into our mind when we speak Industry 4.0 is AI. Technically, AI is defined as the technique by which we can simulate human-like intelligence in machines. Now, let me ask you a question. If I say, what is this? You would say, yes, that it's a dog. We all can see that this image is of a dog and this one is of a cat. But now, if I feed this same image to a computer or a machine and ask that computer, hey, do you know what is this? The computer would fail miserably at that. Machines are in general made to perform with numbers and calculations, and we humans can not beat machines in calculations, but we have good amount of recognition skills, so we can easily recognize this dog and this cat. But AI is the technique by which we can enable computers to recognize images like we humans do it. This can be made possible by CNN or the convolutional neural networks. CNN is nothing but a series of filters which, when applied on images, highlight some of the important aspects of this image which distinguishes it from others. For example, in these two images, we can see the ears of the dog are drooped downwards, whereas cats have pointy ears. So when we will pass these images through CNN, the ears of a cat will be highlighted. Likewise, we can see the cat having a small nose, whereas dogs have a larger one. So in the case of dogs, the CNN would highlight its nose. So the computer would say, hey, this image has something which looks like ears, so it might be a cat. Or this image has something like a nose, so this is a dog. We can find more information on CNN on kaggle.com. So here in this table, treating COVID-19 victims. First of all, the physician identifies the possible matches of COVID-19 symptoms with the use of AI. These samples are then taken into consideration and decided, and the further therapy is decided on this. While the blood samples are taken, the patient is quarantined. Here, the AI-based machines treat the patient from a distance, and patient is fed nutritious food so that he could recover quickly. Now, in this recovery phase, if the victim is actually corona positive, he has reached the last stage. So his lungs would show small patches, which can be seen in the X-rays. So while the person is recovering, we take X-rays of the person and feed it to CNN, which will then show whether it is which would then show whether it is riddled with white patches or not. So we have done the retest of COVID-19. If the person is positive, then he is further isolated, and if negative, he is released. Moving further down, you can use a cloud repository of infected persons. This can be done using big data concept, which is an analytical field that can easily extract desired and detailed information from large and complex data sets. Big data combined with Python, powerful libraries like the NumPys and the Pandas can easily manipulate large amount of data. Regional convolution networks, or the advanced form of RCNN, which has the capabilities to mark out exact boundaries of recognized objects in an image. That is, it. In this next slide, we can see there are two images. The first one is of a CT scan of a COVID positive victim. The green arrows marks the lungs of the victim, and these white patches are marked by the red arrows. So this image is fed into a neural network, which will then detect these patches and say, yes, this victim is corona positive. We have used mask RCNN on a X-ray of the lungs. Here, the computer has recognized small patches, this blue one and this green one, and has declared this to be corona positive. Moving further down the line, we can print ventilator parts using additive manufacturing technology. Here, this image was made in NX. This image was made by us, which is of a ventilator valve. This can be 3D manufactured using some supports. So, additive manufacturing or 3D printing is a process of making objects from CAD files using a 3D printer and having real use cases. Computer and 3D printers are the only requirements for printing 3D objects. This can be special for printing ventilator parts, as this COVID-19 situation has disrupted the supply chain. So hospitals can have their own 3D printers and a computer, and engineers can be employed to design the parts of ventilators which can be 3D printed henceforth. From here on, I would request Mr. Prabhat Thakur to continue. Prabhat, please continue.
Yes. So hello everyone. So from here, moving ahead, work from home environment that we are giving preference most in this COVID-19 pandemic duration, and how we can relate this with smart manufacturing is like that. Work from home environment using cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? It is basically it delivered the computing services that include servers, storage, softwares, database, networking, etc. And it also helps to give the faster and flexible resources. The benefit of cloud computing is in increasing it help to increase the productivity, help to give the speed to do work in minimum time, that is speedy work. It helps to give the security of information. It helps to secure our information in that cloud system, as well as the efficiency and the performance will be the better. Please next slide. So let's take an example. If a user wants to perform a complex simulation on ANSYS software, and he don't have the advanced system in his house to come up with the simulation result, so he can directly use the cloud and put the part file as well as the whole design part in that cloud computing system server, and can directly simulate and get the simulation result, and with the perfect precision. The currently cloud computing platform are provided by like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. In a study, a study says that the productivity of an average person working from home decreased by up to 42%. And in this COVID-19 phase, employee can use some cloud computing to maintain that efficiency. And we already seen that in last 3 months, every employee are try to do the work from home. So this will be company. The cloud computing platform will ensure the data security, as well as it will give the power of the power for the simulation process, as well as different category work that we have to do in that computing system. Please next slide. Now the next one is autonomous robot. So autonomous robot have the capability to cope up many tasks without much human involvement. And one of the best example that we already seen that is widely in use during this pandemic. Currently, it is used in patrolling and sanitizing purpose, but we can also deploy them in hospital for checking human temperature from a particular distance, and it will help doctors and prevent them to from being chaotic. It can be used in delivery purposes as well. Many companies also planning to initiate drone delivery services. Other countries already done the successful test, and many companies are trying to get to know how they can initiate and they can start that service in our country as well. In interlinking different fields and reduce the crisis impact. Here, different field means medical field with the technology field. When both are the different field, when they both combine, it will give the best efficiency result. Please next slide. Now, virtual reality for online education. During this pandemic, the one of the most things that is getting degraded is education. And for that, VR is one of the best options to maintain the interest of student in education and in learning field. So what is VR? VR is the combination, or is the use of computer technology and head-mounted display to create a simulated environment. Instead of viewing screen in front of them, student or users can immense in an artificial 3D world. They can involve themselves in reality that they are already present in that case, in that scenario. VR headset can be used by students so that they can get the look and feel the practical work. Next slide. The most significant benefit of this medium is providing and imparting education is its ability to make people feel like they are together in the same space without the need for traveling. Students can create their own VR headset like the Google Cardboard, which they can make through a piece of cardboard from their own. As we already seen that some of the VR headsets are a bit expensive for students, so they can make their own like this. The image is given here. Go ahead. Next slide, please. So the next is biosensor. So biosensor are used to convert biological signals into electrical signals. This biosensor sensor technology is totally as a wireless device in an environment of multi-patient hospital. The real-time recording of temperature, ECG traces, respiration rate, etc. will be performed by this biosensor patches. Early detection and the consecutive monitoring of COVID-19 symptoms. Next, please. Now, the most importantly, the one of the topic is related to this is telemedicine services. Social distancing is the key to be safe in COVID-19, and WHO already promoting this to be maintain social distance to prevent an individual from getting infected. And telemedicine services will play a major role to help people home and maintain social distancing. Both CDC, that is Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, and WHO, World Health Organization, are advocating and promoting for telemedicine services to monitor and treat patients while simultaneously reducing risk of them spreading the virus by traveling to hospitals. By introducing advanced telehealth services, physicians can expand their reach to remote and quarantine areas to examine and diagnose more patients in shorter amount of time and reduce being chaotic in hospital areas. So this all from our side. We have come up with some of the measures that and a key role that we can relate smart manufacturing industry 4.0 with the medical field and come up with the solution to tackle COVID-19 problem and the pandemic. So that's all from our side. Thank you. Any question you can come up with it.
Thank you, Mr. Kunal Kumar sir and Prabhat Kumar sir, Prabhat Thakur, for sharing your research work in our webinar session.
Hello.
Sir, Chairperson sir, Vaikunth Rao sir, do you have any questions, sir?
I have one question. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I
Kunal sir,
am I
are you hearing?
Yes, yes. Sir, please
Okay,
keep.
sir. Vaikunth Rao sir, please talk to Kunal sir.
This is Dr. Sriramulu, co-chair.
Yes, sir.
Discussion.
Sriram sir, welcome to the session. Please.
Okay, you have given an overall view of smart manufacturing in fighting COVID-19 because you discussed about how to treat a patient using some cloud computing data and manufacturing
Yes.
of some medical parts using additive manufacturing, use of robots in hospitals and virtual education, like what we are facing now, biosensors and telemedicines and all. But being a researcher, you have given elaborative details. But if you focus on one particular area, it would be nice because this your paper gives us a detailed application.
Yes, sir.
Have you worked
This,
on any particular component like only manufacturing, is either smart manufacturing of some particular component?
in
or
manufacturing, see, we have worked in the manufacturing of that. It's fully capable of being 3D printed. And our paper was
have you done any
to give an
analysis on that?
overview. Yes, we have
Have you
done
done any?
analysis on Abacus and ANSYS 19.2. Like
But you
these,
have not shown the results of those parts.
yes, because our paper was basically an overview of all the global pandemic of COVID-19 and any other pandemics that may come up in the future.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Vaikunth Rao, sir, if you want, you can ask.
Vaikunth Rao sir? Sir, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm in line.
Sir, do you have any questions regarding the
I
session?
need to ask one question.
Yes, sir. Kunal sir?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please carry on, sir.
Kunal, do you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, Kunal, can you tell me the justification, otherwise, how do you justify the data security?
Yes, sir.
Data security, how do you justify in the cloud computing?
See, here in this global pandemic, all the nations should come together. This is not for just a single nation. That it is not coronavirus is only affecting Indians or Americans. We all should come together to fight this. So we suggest to keep a global record of all the victims, like their X-rays and CT scans and blood reports. We would not go into their personal details. We would just keep their X-rays and CT scans.
Okay.
And as for data security,
Which
those
one do you prefer,
repositories.
like augmented?
Yes, sir. So for that data security part, these resources would be available
How
only
do you
with
justify
registered.
the between how do you distinguish between the augmented reality and virtual reality, AR and VR?
See, augmented reality is nothing but like keeping animated objects in the camera. For example, the filters of the Snapchats, those are nothing but augmented reality. And virtual reality is using head-mounted displays to like see everything. For example, we are studying here, then we have just our laptops or smartphones to see. But if we are using a VR sets, then we can have that classroom feeling. Like if I turn my head towards the right, I can see, yes, my batchmates are sitting with me, and yes, the professor is teaching in front of us on a blackboard. That power VR can give us.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Kunal sir, and thank you, Vaikunth Rao sir and Srinivaslu sir. I invite the next participant, Mr. S. Ganapathy from our college, to present his paper on enhancement of heat transfer coefficient for a staggered fin heat sink in natural convection. I hand over the session to the Ganapathy sir. Ganapathy sir, please hand over the session.
Yeah, very good afternoon to one and all. Respected dignitaries, Chairperson Venkat Rao, Dr. Vaikunth Rao sir, and Dr. Sriramlu sir. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. My paper is about enhancement of heat transfer coefficient of a staggered fin heat sink in a natural convection. Right. Normally, we know what is a heat sink. So generally, electronic component items generally get defected when the operational temperature is very high. So the longevity, performance, and reliability of electronic components is based upon the thermal management systems provided to them. So here the paper is about enhancement of coefficient. So we can get the higher heat transfer rate from the heat sink. So that's why we have taken about this paper, enhancement of heat transfer coefficient of STX staggered fin heat sink in natural convection. Coming to the contents of this paper, here uh, we will start with the abstract introduction and calculation, modeling, analysis, results, and theoretical validation, conclusion, and future scope. Coming to my abstract, so generally we will see the heat sinks used in a conventional manner, which is having a long parallel fin heat sinks. But this staggered fin heat sink consisting of a series of long and parallel fin heat sinks, perpendicularly arranged short fins proposed to the enhancer of natural convection heat transfer. So the design principle of staggered fin heat sink was based on overcoming thermal fluid flow defects which are often occurring in a plate fin sink. The thermal performance of staggered fin heat sink was compared with the plate fin heat sink in a horizontal variation, right? And a numerical model considering natural convection was developed to obtain a thermal fluid flow distributions of heat transfer coefficient and staggered fin heat sink. And generally, the conclusion of this paper is about comparing the heat fin sink results with the staggered fin heat sink and plate fin heat sink. Moving to the next topic. So that is the introduction of heat sink. As I already told you, the electronic component items generally got defected when the operation temperature is very high. So to provide the thermal management systems to the electronic components, there are two different management systems of thermal management systems are provided to electronic components. That is, one is a active cooling, another is a passive cooling. This active cooling includes using of external peripherals like fans and coolants something which costs extra power consumption and all. But in this passive cooling, we will use only naturally available air and a heat sink to provide necessary cooling system to the electronic components. The performance of passive cooling is usually enhanced by the using heat sinks. Plate fin heatsink is one of the most widely accepted heatsink for its simple geometry and low cost. So this is the operation of heatsink. This heatsink is made up of a normally aluminum and a copper, which is having a higher heat transfer rates and high thermal conductivity property. Right. Generally, whenever the electronic components gets heated, this heat is transferred to the heatsink. So this heatsink is based upon the principle of increasing the heat transfer area, which is the surface area, to obtain the higher flow rate in between the heat fins. So this heat is transferred to the incoming air, and eventually the heat will be transferred to the flowing air through it. Right. This is the simple fin heatsink working principle. And my paper is about a staggered fin heatsink. So the design calculations are taken from the reference. We are taken the reference after surface temperature of 80 degrees centigrade, that is the maximum temperature in electronic components, and ambient air temperature as a 30 degrees centigrade. And the film temperature is 55 degrees centigrade. So film temperature is the base, average of the Ts and T infinity. And at the film temperature 55 degrees centigrade, we have taken the all values from the basic data book, and we have concluded, we have calculated the optimum fin space as 7.2 mm. Right. This temperature coefficient of thermal conductivity is 0.003048, and we eventually calculated the Rayleigh number as 3.5n into 10 to the power of 7. So basing on this Rayleigh number, using an empirical formula, by using Sengil and Yunus textbook, we have find the optimum fin space as 7.2 mm. So, and based upon this optimum fin space, using a Nusselt's theory, we have calculated the heat transfer coefficient as 5.32 watt per square meter. And coming to the modeling, this is the plate fin heat sink. The figure 1 will shows the plate fin heat sinks, and the figure 2 is about the proposed heat sink, that is a staggered fin heat sink, which consists of long parallel fins and a short fins. You can see the fin space as 7.7 as we calculated earlier, and the remaining thickness and the material consumption material in is all same. So I generated this model by using a CATIA software. You can see the picture in this slide. So this was generated by the CATIA software, and this completed object is imported to the ANSYS. So the analysis is started by using ANSYS Workbench and a commercial CFD code. A commercial CFD code is used to solve the problems of fluid dynamics. So this commercial CFD code was used to solve the current problem as formulated. A simple algorithm applied to couple the pressure and velocity for numerical analysis. And the iterative convergence criteria was chosen as 10.4 for momentum and 10.6 for energy equation. So a mesh is generated and simple, and as well as the process of simulation is applied as a total grid number of 8,20,000 and 5,28,000 for the plate fin heatsink, as well as and numerical results obtained by the two grids were found to have a discrepancy less than 1%. So we will start the analysis by using a analysis ANSYS. This is the starting of the ANSYS. We have imported the geometry of the heat fin heatsink into the ANSYS, and this is the grid independence test, which was conducted to have the accuracy values. And this is the mesh. This is the type of mesh generated. Here the elemental type is hexahedral type and patch conformation and a fine grid type, and the number of elements and number of nodes are shown in the below table. And next, by using so this is the end of the geometry. This geometry have a part of one fourth of this part is examined or simulated in the CFD code. These are the velocity and temperature variations we have gathered for a plate fin heat sink. This is the highest velocity has a 0.16 and temperature is a 350 degrees Kelvin. And here the proposed heat fin sink results of analysis. Here the velocity is 0.16 and temperature is about a 342 degrees Kelvin. So in this plate fin heat sink, we have a 350 Kelvin. In this staggered fin heat sink, we have calculated up to, we have gathered that is 342 degrees centigrade. So for anything, we have to calculate theoretical and practically. So this is theoretical validation comparing to the plate fin heat sink and a normal heat sink. Here the Q is this is a general formula. We have what we have discussed in the convection concept as a Newton's law of cooling, that is H into A into temperature difference. This simple formula is applied to to calculate heat transfer. That is of without plate fin sink heat sink has a 53.62 watts, and coming to the proposed heat sink has a 55.98 watts. So by the end of this session, I conclude my paper. So comparing to the results of our proposed heat sink, that is a staggered fin heat sink, with a conventional heat sink, that is a plate fin heat sink, the staggered fin heat sink has a benefits of higher heat transfer coefficient for the same material cost and for the same size of the heat sink. So compared to the theoretical and simulation values of heat transfer coefficient, this staggered fin heat sink has a coefficient of 5% greater than the conventional plate fin heat sink. So a present research work is going on to get the best use of electronic components without adding peripherals like a fan. As I already told you, these extra peripherals increases the power consumption of the systems and all. So we have to use our little resources as well as our benefits, and the passive cooling rate can be increased by heat arrangement, and the heat transfer rate also increased by the positioning of elevation of fins. And this fins performance can be elevated or enhanced by different coatings, and fins also provides optimum cooling rate and all. I have taken fin spacing for this paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. S. Ganapathy, sir, for presenting your research paper in our webinar. Now I request Co-Chair Vaikuntrao Garu, Vaikuntrao sir, and Dr. D. Sriramlu sir.
Okay.
Sir, do you have any questions to ask the participant?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. So my question is, have you compared the results obtained from ANSYS with any existing research paper? At least you're supposed to compare with experimental data, but experiment you may not be able to do.
Sir.
You might not have done, otherwise you would have shown it.
Yes, sir.
But you should compare the results with the existing research paper at least. Have you done it, or only comparing theoretical value?
Sir, I have done it only theoretical values, sir. I'm working on it present actually.
Okay.
Sir.
So what is the effect of thickness of the fin in heat transfer?
So effect of thickness as well as increases the material consumption, sir. So this heat sink is used to
what about your heat transfer coefficient if I increase the thickness of fin?
Sir.
Will it be increased or decreased?
Sir, I'm working on it, sir. So I cannot. I may not be sure. If the thickness is increased,
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Fundamentally, you can tell, Ganapathy.
Sir,
Ganapati,
sir.
you can tell fundamentally now what happens to that coefficient value if the thickness is increased.
If the thickness is increased.
Because you said in your theoretical value, if area increases, heat
Sir.
transfer rate will be increased by some percentage.
Always give sir. Sir.
Now, have you done any physical model? Prepared any
Yeah, sir.
physical model?
I'm working on it, sir. So I have created the prototype using aluminum as a material. So fundamentally
You have
thickness,
created
if
the
the
prototype?
yes, sir.
Have
I'm
you
working on
created
it, sir.
prototype?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But how are you going to validate it with the physical validation, practical validation? You are talking about theoretical validation, na?
Sir.
Are you sure that it will be you can validate it practically?
Sir, actually, when I started this project, I may not sure I'm get benefited or not. I mean, I may get best results or not. But I'm working on it. So something which I will never know about.
Which paper
So
you have taken as a reference paper? Have you taken any paper as a
yes, sir.
reference?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Which one?
I mean, paper. I just deleted that slide references, sir.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
What if this number of fins you have given some value for the number of fins, right?
Sir. 24,
how do you
sir.
arrive at that value? How do you arrive at that value?
So just I have taken from the reference paper, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Participants can pose some questions. Participants.
Participants?
Yeah.
I request any of the participants may ask the question.
Kalyani madam, you may ask some question.
Sir, Kalyani madam is not here.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm handling.
This is Kalyani madam. Hello, ma'am.
You may ask some
Welcome
question.
to the session. Please ask the question, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Sir, actually, my doubt is when you are taking the when you are fixing the temperature and when you are taking the fin parameters, means some sort of literature should be there, sir. Means only by taking the means simply or just telling that we have taken a reference, but for that reference, what is the base, sir? Means you have told that it is a staggered fin, to my knowledge,
sir.
But in that staggered fin, what is the literature? Means in that we have to see the literature, sir. And one more point is fins means what type of fin it is, sir. Means in that fins you have different types of fins also. So what type of fin actually you have considered, sir?
Figure చూడండి rectangular fin లా ఉందండి.
Yeah, madam. Rectangle fin like that.
Rectangle fin.
It is a rectangular fin or it is a triangular fin, or so there will be so many types of fins, sir, to my knowledge. What type of fin exactly you have choose, sir?
He is showing rectangular fin.
Yes, madam. Rectangular fin, madam. Actually, the shape is there. Actually, I forgot to say literature slides. Sure, madam. I'll change this. I'll make these changes.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you for the concern.
Means at least one slide should be there. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, madam. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other passive participant? Do you have any questions regarding the session?
Hello,
Yes, sir.
I'm Jay Siddharth Yadav. I want to ask a doubt.
Yes, sir. Siddharth, sir.
What is the future work of this paper which is being presented? Can you just ask the speaker?
Yes, sir. Actually,
he's given
sir,
scope is given, future scope. Yeah.
future scope. Actually, so once the heat transfer is increased, I would like to attach this heat sink to the solar panels, sir. So once the solar panels temperature increased, so automatically this performance is decreasing. So my plan is to attach these heat sinks to the solar panels.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, ma'am.
Is there any other participant you have questions regarding this paper? Thank you, Ganapati sir, for presenting your research paper in this webinar. Sir, now I request Chairperson Dr. Rugada Vaikuntrao sir to talk a few words regarding the webinar.
Yeah, I'm very much delighted to be part of this webinar. In fact, I thank the management and principal sir. And during this seminar, I learned many things from the presenters. And I hope the same tempo should be continued. And good luck to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your well-built words. Sir, I request Co-chairperson Dr. D. Sriramalu sir to give a few words regarding the webinar.
Thank you, madam. I would like to thank the organizers of Global Webinar on Engineering, Science and Technology. And I also thank Venkatrao garu for giving me this opportunity. And today's session was like presented by, one paper is presented on applications of smart manufacturing. This is what happening in today's life. And the second paper is completely related to our mechanical enhancement of heat transfer coefficient. Both are interesting, but still they need to work on it to do a complete research. I think these are the basic level papers. They need to work on it. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for valuable words.